The next order that we are going to discuss is the order Lepidoptera. This includes the butterflies and the moths. These two groups of insects are instantly recognized by people as attractive, harmless insects. They are found in every habitat from mountaintops to the darkest jungles, in deserts, and even in our homes, a truly cosmopolitan group. They include some of the most beautifully colored insects, many with incredible stories attached to them. Among an otherwise frightening collection of creepy collies, adult butterflies and moths do not sting or bite and are viewed with pleasure by people across the world. As we mentioned, butterflies and moths are the two groups that are found within this order. When we talk about their type of metamorphosis, they're probably the ultimate example of the concept of complete metamorphosis, which we talked about is the transformation, in this case, from the caterpillar to the pupa and then to a large-winged, often brightly colored butterfly or moth. In the immature and the adult stage, the type of mouth parts vary. In the immature stage, which we refer to as a caterpillar, they have chewing mouth parts. But in the adult stage, most species have a long sucking proboscis or tongue that is used for nectar feeding. We refer to this type of mouth part as a siphoning type. The presence of overlapping scales on the wings and body help distinguish the Lepidopteran from other insect orders. Their closest relatives are the caddisflies. When we talked about the caddisflies, we mentioned that their wings are actually covered by scale-like hairs. It is the wing scales on the Lepidopteran that are responsible for the colored wing patterns of the butterflies and moths. Here we see an example of that long sucking proboscis or tongue that forms this type of siphoning mouth parts in the adult insects. When not at use, this siphoning tube or this tongue is coiled underneath of the butterfly's head or the moth's head, and this really helps to protect it from being damaged while the insect is moving about or in flight. The scales on the Lepidopteran are most notable when you handle a butterfly or a moth. The fine dust that rubs off is actually composed of tiny scales. Underneath the covering of the scales, the wings are glassy, transparent structures, as in other insects, with a strong network of veins that are pumped full of air and fluid after the adult emerges from the pupa. Here we see an up-close example of what those overlapping scales look like on the wing of this butterfly. Here we see the butterfly alphabet. This was done by photographer Sandved. After 25 years of field photography and scoring through museum insect collections, he succeeded in finding all the characters of our current alphabet within the astoundingly beautiful and varied wing pattern designs of butterflies and moths. The family Papilionidae contains some of the most impressive of all insects, including the swallowtails. All species are brightly colored and often sequester toxins derived from their food plants that make them distasteful or poisonous to predators. The swallowtails occur worldwide and typically have long tails on their hind wings. These tails are part of an elaborate deception, for on resting adult butterflies, they resemble antennae. At the base of the tail in many species is an eye spot marking that reinforces a perceived resemblance to the head end of the insect. Other species rely upon bold black, yellow, red, and white markings to warn off others of their poisonous qualities. Not all that is boldly marked is poisonous, however, and some edible species specialize as mimics of truly venomous species. Here's another example of a brightly colored butterfly. Really, when you think about it, few groups of animals can rival the brilliant colors found in the wings of butterflies and moths. Each species has a unique combination of pattern. Some even have more than one, with differences between broods and between the sexes. The fact that these colors generally do not fade after death has made the Lepidopterans one of the best studied insect groups. Butterfly collecting dates back to the early 1500s. Many butterflies and moths have the presence of these eye spots on their wings, and again, this is just another defense mechanism exhibited by this group, which is used to give the impression of a larger organism. We also have groups that are cryptically colored or their appearance allows them to be able to effectively blend in with their background. Here is an example of an atlas moth. This is one of the largest moths found in the world. Again, noting the beautiful brightly coloration patterns and again those eye spots on the hind wings of this particular moth. You might be asking yourselves, are these really moths or lepidopterans? These actually are. This is an example of mimicry that we might see where these particular lepidopterans are resembling stinging insects. The immature stage of lepidopterans have a very different set of structures and behaviors, befitting their differences in shape and function. With few exceptions, the larvae or caterpillars have chewing mouthparts, which is only appropriate since they spend most of their time feeding. This is the only growing stage in their life cycle, and the larvae are designed as eating machines. You may be looking at this slide thinking that this caterpillar has more than 6 legs. If you recall early in the semester, we said that a key feature of all insects is the presence of 6 true pairs of legs. The fact is that most caterpillars have both 3 pairs of true legs and they also have false legs. Although in some species, some or all of these have been lost. As we mentioned with all insects, there are 3 pairs of true legs, which are found on the 3 segments behind the head. In addition, there are usually 5 pairs of fleshy false legs or prolegs, and these prolegs give the caterpillar the ability to be able to hang on to substrates. Caterpillars are very vulnerable to predation, and most use a variety of strategies to protect themselves. Either they have concealing coloration patterns or a variety of other types of warning defense mechanisms to help protect them. One of the most common ways is for them to be able to blend into their background. There are other examples. Take, for instance, swallowtail caterpillars. In that young caterpillar stage, they are cryptically colored to resemble bird droppings. A common form of defense for caterpillars is also to be covered in sharp hairs or spines, as seen here by this particular caterpillar. These are known to be extremely irritating to many birds and lizard predators. The last points to make about the order Lepidopteran is that they're going to be widespread wherever there is vegetation. When we talk about their economic importance, particularly in that immature stage, many of them are going to be important pests of many of our economically important plants.